Says I'm live. Hopefully I'm live. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another stream. We are going to be doing a little bit of playing around with VR. So yeah, hopefully that will be enjoyable. Do apologize. My voice is a little rough at the moment. I've been suffering from a bit of a cold or weird thing for the last couple of weeks, and it's not been too great. But feeling a lot better, and hopefully my voice will hold out. So we'll see how things go tonight. Um, so yeah, we're in 412 stable. We'll see if that is um, going to be good enough for what we're going to do tonight, or whether we're going to run into some problems. There are a few fixes in 4.2. But at the same time, we are having a few interesting last minute changes in 4.2, especially around Android. We have switched over to Java 17. So yeah, there's a few things that are currently being adjusted that throw a few things into murky waters, and I don't want to get stuck on that in the middle of the stream until the time that I've actually got everything set up properly on my computer, that I'm upgraded to Java 17 and everything like that. So we're sticking with 4.1.2 tonight. Hi Doug, how you going? Nice of you to join. So yeah, 412, I've got a brand new empty project, and we'll see how far we get with that. I always start with creating a main scene. There we go. And I think I'm going to go and use our OpenXR tools tonight. So I want to grab that one. No, that's not that one. We might need that later, but I'm going to work on PCVR first. Godot XR hand tracking toolkit. Oh, I've got to check that out some point. That sounds interesting. All right, download that guy. Hey, Cheeseness, how you going? Long time no see. How's your Bone Digger game going? Are you still working on that one? Can't remember what the name was. Where you're digging up all the dinosaur bones and putting dinosaurs together. Alrighty. Now let's see if we have to restart once or twice, because this always is a little bit iffy. Obviously, we should never. Actually, we need to restart anyway because we need to turn a few things on. But we need to turn on our Godot XR Tools plugin now that it's installed. And now that we've got that, we shall also go and enable OpenXR, and it's already telling us that we want to restart. We want to enable our shaders. Do we want to enable anything else here? No, none of the new 4.2 options obviously are in here, so we'll keep that all on default. Doug, at the moment, no, because the WebXR output works on the compatibility renderer, the OpenGL renderer. And that currently doesn't have MSAA support yet, but I am working on MSAA support in the compatibility renderer. So we'll just have to see if that also means that that translates to MSAA support in WebXR as well. But I'm looking at some other options there as well, so we'll see. But not yet, but coming, I'm guessing. No promises. Oh yeah, Fossil Sweeper was going. Oh, you're doing some contract work. That's really cool. Well, I haven't been streaming very much lately, Cheese, because I've just been too busy, and there's been too many things in my personal life that have had priority. But I'm trying to do a little bit more now that that Godot 4 is out, and because we're trying to ramp up some of the XR work. So fingers crossed that that I can actually do more YouTube things. Although I am planning on one or two tutorials, just getting started tutorials, because there's a lot of stuff missing for Godot 4. But I think for the most it will just be streams for a while. We'll see how it goes. Well, Felix, we're starting completely from scratch here, so hopefully I'll be able to give you enough pointers to getting started. So we'll see. Anyway, so where were we? I created the main scene, which does absolutely nothing, completely empty. I've just installed our OpenXR toolkit, which we're going to be using here. And we have our OpenXR action map installed, which is this beautiful thing. That's just a default action map. For tonight, I'm going to stick to the default. But one of the things that I do plan to do in the near future is actually do some sessions about the... Stop bringing up my start bar. Doing a few sessions on the action map, because for a lot of the demos that I've been making lately, I'm actually making purpose-built action maps, which is quite cool, and really the way that it should be used. Now, the other thing that I'm thinking about for tonight, am I going to use a staging system? I think I will, and for that, maybe it was not the smartest idea to create the main scene. Might just toss that away and start over for that. And instead go and say, we're going to go to staging. So someone asked the other day on the Discord forum about the staging system, and at some point doing a tutorial about that, which is on the list, but we might as well spend a little bit of time on that tonight. So the staging system is a optional system in OpenXR or in Godot XR tools that manages scene loading and scene switching between, where you can basically implement different levels. I want to close you as well. You can basically implement different levels, and it just handles the background loading, and it makes sure that you're not completely thrown out of VR and stuff like that. But it adds a level of complexity. You don't need to use it. So a lot of my tutorials currently online ignore the staging system. But let's tonight actually work with the staging system. And the idea here is that we begin with making an inherited scene of our staging scene. There we go. There's our beautiful staging scene. And we're going to save this little guy as our main scene. So this is a predefined scene, has a whole bunch of things in it. It already has our start XR code in here, so that is going to ensure that XR is automatically started when we boot up. It has a couple of other little things. Obviously, it has a player setup, but this is not the player setup that we're going to be using in our game. It's a temporary player setup that is being used when the loading screen is shown. And as we can see, we have a loading screen, which is beautifully, well, it doesn't have an image because we haven't set an image. So let's start there. And we're just going to use the default image that comes with with the Godot XR. And that must be in assets then. No, where is that stored? That's a good question. Or is there not a default one that we get here? That would be uncool. Well, what we're then going to do is our age-old, let's put our Godot logo on there. Yay! So obviously you can create your own little image there. And basically every time that we switch between levels, we get this splash screen shown for a little bit. The background will actually be black. It's just the default background that we're seeing right now. We have the little process bar here when a level loads. And there is some logic embedded here that the first time that a player loads up the very first scene, they actually need to press or hold the trigger to load up that scene. That's just to make sure that we can do some calibration and stuff like that. The idea with the staging is that the loading screen, you can basically put anything in there that you want. So you could make it, something. You can make it a whole 3D world if you want to. It's just whatever you want to show when you're between levels, which is kind of cool. So yeah, like I said, sorry, I will be drinking plenty tonight to just keep my throat from getting up. So bear with me while I refill my glass. I probably should have gotten a bigger glass. All right. We can actually see that there's also a nice little triangle here. It says that no main scene has been selected and a main scene does not exist, or they're kind of linked to each other. We want to set up a main scene, and that is the very first scene that the staging system will load, and probably the only scene that we're currently going to create tonight. But we'll see. We'll see how we go. And for that, we need to go to our scene base, and we're going to go and inherit that. And in this case, I'll save that in a minute. Normally, I save this in a subfolder. I'll create a levels folder or a scenes folder or whatever you want to call it, and create different levels in there. But for now, we'll call this our. I don't really want to call that main because we already have a main here. First scene, whatever. Yeah, I think it has to have a name. So what we can see in our this is that we do have a full player setup, and the difference here obviously is that this player actually doesn't have any logic assigned to it and shouldn't have any logic assigned to it, because this is just the camera that is active when we're in the loading scenes, just so that we can see our loading scene. The moment that our scene is loaded, and that's while we're in here, select our scene here to cause that to get loaded, then this player takes over, and this is the player that we're actually going to dress up. So we're going to start using this to do things with. Now, by default, it doesn't do anything. We would just start in an empty world, and it will probably also be a blank world because we don't have a sun, we don't have a environment. So that's where we're starting first, is we're going to add our sun to the scene and add our environment to the scene. And I just want to, oh, why is that not, there we go. I don't want shadows at the moment because shadows in this version don't work yet, or do they? It's actually a good question. Why is that? That's coming in 4.2. Yeah, because I remember that we had just merged the shadow logic, but it's in 4.2. That's not in 4.1. So I like to put the sun a bit out of the way so that it's not obviously visible. We're going to keep our environment mostly the same. Happy with the filmic, it's fine, and it's just going to be a standard sky, just a standard procedural sky. That's good enough for what we want right now. So let's go and make our character do a little bit more. And we're going to start by, I'm going to start by adding in, where are you? Mark, this is our left hand, so our collision left hand and our collision right hand nodes. So these are special nodes that are set up for our hands, so that if our hand collides with, say, a table or a wall or something like that, and we push our hand through that wall, then our hand will actually not go through the wall. It will actually stick there. So what we'll see, if you look at my other tutorials and my other videos, we would generally add a lot of things under the XR controller nodes themselves. Excuse me. We're going to use this as an intermediate. So for instance, our let's do our low poly left hand. That is good enough. So that's actually showing our hand. That would normally be a child of our controller. That now actually becomes a child of our collision object here. And we're going to do the same thing for our right hand. So I am going to go and where is it? Right hand low. So we should now have two hands there. And because they are now children of our collision hands, we get all the logic automatically that our hands nicely, stop at walls, stop at tables, stuff like that. Okie dokie. The other thing that I want to do, and I'm actually just going to do that on the right hand, I'm going to add a direct movement controller on there that allows us to use the right joystick on the right controller to move around. I'm going to leave strafe off and I'm not going to add a turn. So this only allows us to move forward and backwards with our joystick. And I'm just going to stick to that. We might do more, but for now, that is all that I'm doing. You'll see that it also has added in a player body, and our player body node actually becomes a collision shape that is automatically adjusted to the player's height to ensure that when we move our player around, we obviously can't walk through walls or walk through obstacles. It also means that now that this is set up, our player actually will be affected by gravity, and it will fall. So if we run our project right now, we'll just fall through the ground and keep on falling. Now, we won't really see that because we don't have anything to reference us by, but yeah, let's not fall down. So the next thing that I always like adding is a floor. So we start with a static body for our floor, and we need a collision shape for that. We're going to use a world boundary shape for that, our old plane shape. So this currently has a y up of 1. That means that we can stand on top of it. Can't fall through it, and it is basically infinite size. So that prevents us from falling through the floor. We also want to be able to see that. So I'll add a mesh instance in here. There we go. And we're just going to use a plain mesh. And we'll make this sufficiently big that we have something to stand on. I'm actually going to move that to the top. There we go. I also want a texture for that. So let's go and steal that out of one of my other projects. I'm pretty sure I have that in here. There we go. We'll steal this one. That's a texture I got from Malcolm, and I have been gladly using that for all sorts of things. Let's do the same sort of thing here and create a folder called assets, and create a folder called MISC for this sort of things. There we go. And I'm just going to use a override geo here. Now, one of the things that I've started doing for these sort of projects, and that I really recommend people do, is why is that called first? Oh, because we happen to be in first scene. Okay, let's just go and create a folder called shaders, and we're going to call that. Actually, I'm going to call that texture none. Okay, there we go. And all we're going to put in here is that we're going to have a uniform sampler 2D texture. No, I can't do that because that's a reserve. Let's go with albedo. Color. No, color source color. There we go. So all we're doing is, oh, I do need scale for this one. So we're gonna go and do that in a second. We need to change that a little bit. Albedo is gonna be color RGB. There we go. I'm doing it this way. Loading the texture into a vec4. Where am I missing a semicolon there? And then just getting the RGB instead of getting that directly, because then we can duplicate this for a for an alpha version as well. But we do need to add a vertex shader to that in a minute. But first, chat. Hi, Ghostskin. How you going? My favorite VR hardware for development. That is a really tough one to answer. Tonight, I will be using this little beauty here, which is my Quest Pro. And no, it is not my favorite development hardware. It is right now one of my favorite headsets, however. I don't have a Quest 3 yet. I think that once I have a Quest 3 in my hands, then that will very likely become my top pick. But for the longest time, and still is kind of to this day, but you have to be able to afford it. Is this little guy, my Valve Index, which you will see me use in many of my videos. So the important thing when we're looking at developing VR applications, and the one thing that the Quest really fails at, is you'll be doing a lot of this during development, and then taking it back off. Especially when you want to properly tighten it to test things. This is an annoying headset because it's actually been designed to really properly fit on your head, and it's a pain in the ass to constantly have to take off and put back on. And that's something that I really enjoyed about the Index. And actually, the original Rift S was one of my favorite headsets for that reason as well. They are headsets that are very comfortable to continuously put on and take off and put on and take off. Or, you know, something that I very often did with my Index is that I actually would, I would hold it like this. So I would just hold it like that. I wouldn't actually put it on. I would just hold it in front of my face. And the nice thing with the Index, because you have the lights houses, is that the tracking keeps working. If you do that with the Quest, you very often have your hand in front of some of the cameras, and the inside-out tracking starts flickering, and it can become a bit of a nuisance. So that is one of my most important aspects as a developer, that I want a headset that is very comfortable for constantly taking off and putting back on. Much more important than whether the resolution is good and all that sort of jazz. Just the comfort of constantly taking it on and off is a major factor for me. Obviously, for using a headset to actually play games, you know, that's a case of you put it on, and as long as it's comfortable while wearing, you wear it for an hour or two, or maybe longer, depending on how long your gaming session takes. That is obviously not a big issue. So as a user of VR, that aspect isn't as important. Then suddenly the visuals become very important, and the value that you get out of a headset becomes very important. And that is where, in my eyes right now, the Quest is really, really good. First of all, because it's a standalone headset, so you can use it without needing a computer, but you can also use it as a PC VR headset. And that is actually the one thing where on the Quest 2, I had my doubts, even though it was possible. Airlink was okay-ish. But definitely on the Quest Pro, and I'm assuming that with the Quest 3, being able to play PC VR games through Airlink is a very cool experience. So I did invest my money in this little guy, which is a special VR 6G dongle thingy. But I can't recommend it yet. On paper, it is amazing, but the setup of it is a pain in the butt. And I'm not even sure if it's working over that, or if I'm just going over my normal Wi-Fi. And going over my normal Wi-Fi is, you know, I live in the middle of the city. There's too much noise in the air here. There's too many people who have, you know, I'm in an apartment complex, so there's too many people with their own Wi-Fi routers here. You do notice that interferes with things. So I'm still trying to figure out whether I've got that one set up properly. And until I do, and I know for sure, I'm going to hold my judgment on how good Airlink really is. But on most days, even through normal Wi-Fi, it seems to be working just fine. Woods on Studios, nice of you to drop in, and well, hope you cook something yummy for your kids. Yeah, teas, exactly, and it's actually one of the things that I think is a real drawback on the whole Quest line, because even with the normal Quests, yeah, you can move the straps out of the way, but you still, you know, like I said, you very easily obscure the cameras. it just isn't as good an experience as a headset that you can easily just put on your face. And that's actually, it's really interesting that for me still, Microsoft was the only one who got it right. When you look at the old Windows MR headsets, most of them had that flip up system. And I had the Acer one, which had a really annoying headband. But even with that annoying headband, I preferred it as a development headset because I could keep it on my head and flip it up and look at my screen and then flip it down again and test my. I wish there were headsets still like that. So again, that's also why I really like the Rift S. It's a very easy headset to take off, put back on, take off, put back on. But yeah, I'd really like to get more. I'd like to see more headsets that are designed with the developer in mind, even if it is a slightly more expensive headset because it won't sell as well as a consumer headset. Um, I'd be really thrilled to have a headset that is comfortable to constantly be able to take off and put on. Yeah, pet the dog. Well, I don't currently have a dog. I really want to have a cat, but unfortunately, I am not allowed pets in my apartment. So that is something that I need to resolve. Anyway, the thing that I still wanted to add here was another uniform, which is going to be a VEC2, and that's going to be scale. And oh no, that's going to be equal. I'm going to make sure that that is defaulting to 1 by 1. For this simple one, I'm not going to add an offset. We're just going to go and multiply the scale by the UV. There we go. All right, so now you might ask, why do I go through the whole trouble of setting up a shader instead of just using a standard material and just configuring that? And the reason for that is that the standard materials will add a whole bunch of things in here that are quote unquote optional, or actually I can show that, let's just for fun create a second mesh instance here. And we're just creating a standard material in here. And let's just keep it like that. Let's do it the base one and we convert that to a shader material. You can see that all the textures here are already defined, even if we leave them empty. That means that we are still running through the standard code that is loading those textures. It's just loading it from a blank texture at that point in time. So there's overhead in there. And now on PC, nobody really cares. But on why does it keep that open? But in VR, especially on a standalone headset, just removing those extra texture loads because you're not actually using them saves you performance. So it's something that I've gotten into the habit of doing is, unless it's really a throwaway thing, I try to write my own shaders and keep them as straightforward and simple as possible. And just remove everything that I don't really need. I might actually put... actually, I should call that a texture. I don't know. I'm probably going to lose the texture now. And I'm actually going to do a for albedo color. Can I do that as a source color as well? Does it work that way? I'm not quite sure. Yes, it does. So I'm going to go and do that. Oh, that doesn't actually default to white. Yes, there we go. And then indeed it lost my texture. So, but It's staying gray. Why is it staying gray?
You want to go sleep now?
Good
Night.
night. Yeah. There we go, and that's the picture. I'm guessing that it is getting confused with that. And now it doesn't. What's the color? So much color. What am I missing here? Color is defined properly. Bit of color. Yeah, that is working. But if I do this, it comes back black, so my color isn't being loaded properly. In theory, someone could create a custom head. Yeah, and indeed, that is one of the things that is kind of nice about the whole Quest ecosystem, is that yeah, you can get aftermarket head straps, and maybe someone already has made that, but I'm just not aware of it. However, it kind of feels. Well, no, actually, that's probably really a good approach. I think the only problem that we have, as far as I understand, is that the headsets that you or the straps that you buy for your Quest 2 don't fit on a Quest 3, which is maybe the only oversight in that one. But yeah, that's actually a good idea, I think. Donatello, yeah, I have finally put my Rift S away. It had an honorable place on my table for a little while, but I actually need to clean up my table. But it's a bit full of stuff at the moment. But yeah, I'm very sad somewhere that that Oculus gave up on the Rift S. It was a nice headset. It really was. Yeah, geez, that's the same thing that I have. I just renewed my lease, so I'm going to be here for a while longer. But I have been thinking about moving, but the problem that I then get is I'd have to move out of Sydney. That's really the only way that I can afford a place that where that I can also start looking for a place that lets me have pets. So we'll see. As long as this is affordable, I'll live here. And then again, if it does get out of my my price range, which is getting closer and closer, at some point I might indeed also have to move. And we'll see how where we end up. But yeah, if I end up moving at some point, then I need to find a place where I'm allowed to have pets. That's if it takes me longer to find something, and it takes me longer to find something. But it is really stupid here in Australia that landlords are that protected, because I get the risk that is involved in pets destroying things. But we're generally talking about people who don't already look after their pets properly. I've had cats for years when I lived in Holland, and there's things that you can do to make sure that they don't trash the place, that they have their own space to play, and they've got their scratch poles and all that sort of jazz. So yeah, I think it is that here in Australia, the rules aren't good enough. They need to be more in the corner of the people. I'm paying thousands of dollars every month just to live here, and I'm not allowed to have pets. It's just something's not right about that. It's just crazy. Anyway, what do you do? Yeah, no, there's no way that I could buy anything in Australia. That's yeah, unfortunately, but that is just the way it is. So why is this not? Okay, I think my default color probably just didn't propagate properly, because it is working. And it's probably because we changed those things around. So probably that albedo texture was because I named that albedo color in the beginning. So yeah, anyway, that the extra multiplication with the color, I think, is worth having in there. that is not really going to cost us any performance. But yeah, there we go. We have our little grid. And I am scaling it up a little bit so that these blocks are a little bit better for what it is that we're doing. All right. So let's see if what we have so far works. So, oh, excuse me. We should be able to start this up. And we should be able to run around this area. Okay. All right, we're still in here. So let's go and say play. No, it does not select current. That needs to be my main scene. All right, so here we go. So yeah, we can see that our splash screen is there. Obviously, that's not a very good splash screen for what we're doing because that icon is not meant for this. We have a hold trigger to continue message that gets shown once our level is loaded, but we need to hold our trigger before we can actually go into our level. And here we are in the level that we just created, and we can see that we have some hands that do things, and I should be able to move in the direction that I'm looking, like that. So I'm hoping, I can't see what's on the screen, so I'm hoping that it's working on screen. I might actually peek. Yeah, that is, oh, there we go. You guys probably didn't see the hand. Maybe now you do. Now this is a hand based on our button input. So yeah, that's all working. So we've got the starts of our little XR world going. Hooray. Cool. So with that startup all done, what shall we do now? Because one of the things that I was looking at, well, we got the staging done now. We're loading our first scene. If you then want to go from this scene to another scene, there's a couple of methods that you can call on the base here. So we have a that's called when we load. That's that scene exiting. Yeah, so we have an exit to main scene. So that wouldn't do anything in this scene because that brings us back to our starting scene. And we have a load scene function that we can call to switch to another scene. So if we would make a game that has multiple levels, then that is the way that we flip around things. Now there is a template system or template project that is completely set up with 4 separate areas. So that's a good place to have a look at how that all works in practice. For our little stream tonight, it is enough that we do have this this staging set up. We've defined what our first scene is that we load. We've put in our Godot icon as a splash screen for now. Obviously, we'd like to have a nicer one there. But again, like I said in the beginning, it doesn't have to be just this. You can load a complete environment in here if you want to. You could even go to this scene and change the scene out. That's our default scene here. You can turn it into something completely different that you want. Just it's just a thing that you see every time that you switch levels. All right. So so that's it about staging. So the other thing that I wanted to do was one of the requests that came in on Discord the other day was to look at an aim reticle on a gun, but have it confined to like a holo. So go and have a look at that. Do we want to get my nice little? Yeah, I guess we could get our weapon from our where is that? From our weapons tutorials. Like, assets, open game art pistol. Let's go and grab that. Is there anything more? No, I'm just gonna grab that as is. I really like this one. So for what we're doing here, that will probably be a good idea. Open game art. So I like creating an assets folder that contain all my assets of my project, and I like creating folder names for where I get my assets from, so that it's easier for me to look back at where they originally came from, and make sure that I give some attribution. So for this, thank you for downloading. Use how you like. So unfortunately, the README that came with this didn't tell us much. That is sad, but true. Okay. Blend. So yeah, that's our blend file that will come in. Let's see what's the easiest way to do it. So I should have everything set up that we can actually use the blend file directly. So when we look at this asset, it obviously has a texture. It actually has the model as a GLTF file, but it also has the model as a blend file. And Godot actually lets you use that directly, which is kind of neat. I'm just wondering if that's the way that I want to do it. So create that as a new inherited scene. There's our pistol. Okay. Actually, I don't want to create it as a new inherited scene. What we're instead going to do is we're going into our Godot XR tools. Is that objects? Yep. We're going to grab our pickable scene, because that will allow us to create an object that we can actually pick up. And then we're actually going to go and drag our pistol blend in there. There we go. We have an object that we can pick up. I do want this to be nicely centered, but before I do that, I want to go to Edible Children. And the first thing that I'm going to do is hide a few things that, in this case, I don't care about. I don't want the suppressor. The rest is all good. Then let's go and move that a bit nicer into the middle. There we go. Let's give this thing a collision shape. Well, that was not bad center-wise. Center it a little bit more. Now, I'm just going to keep it to a nice box. I could obviously make a shape that's exactly the shape of the pistol, but for now, this is good enough. And then obviously we need to also do this. Okay. And then obviously we always get that the scale here is way too big. Oh, we need to save this guy. Again, normally I would put this into nice little folders, but for our purposes today, oops, we're just going to do it like that. And that also reminded me, and I always forget where these settings live. Oh, that's actually a good one to do as well. Tools, XR tools, set physics layers. There we go. Well, that by the way is it sets some default names for all the physics layers. Makes it a bit easier to know where things are and should be, because XR tools makes a bunch of assumptions about the layer usage. I'm guessing that I'm going to have to go to advanced settings here. There's some other things that it should be updating, so it might already have. It's not render. Where is it then? We keep that all at defaults. Where's the physics settings? Oh, here we go. I think that one was one that needed to be lower. That's all right. Yeah, I think the rest of that is good. The other thing that I probably want to do is I want to put my physics rate multiplier to 2. So what this does, it takes the refresh rate of the headset, and it multiplies it by 2, and that becomes your physics rate, so that at least the physics rate and your update rate in your headset are sort of in sync. I'm also going to make my target refresh rate 90, that is that triggers the logic that will automatically for headsets that support it will automatically go to a higher refresh rate if possible. So that's kind of handy and kind of cool. All right, so the other thing that is always going wrong for some reason with this is that the material doesn't actually get set properly. Now, one thing is, has it? No, it probably hasn't. Oops. Import. Advanced. Actions. Extract materials. I'm going to create a materials folder in my blend folder. Extract. So what it does now is it actually creates a material that we can change. And the thing that is missing is that there is no albedo on here. Boom, boom, boom. Here's our texture. There we go. And with that texture set, all of a sudden our gun has all the right colors. So yeah. Now here the same thing applies as that I said before, is that we could even go as far as changing the shader here and changing this material into a shader material. But I think in this case, that's actually not needed. So let's turn that off. Kill mode, really? That's inside out. Why would the kill mode not be needed? No, I'm gonna put that to back. That's fine. But yeah, in this case, I'm happy to keep this as a normal material, but there is an argument for saying let's go and change that to a shader material as well. Now the nice thing about it is that the moment that in the import settings you tell it to extract the materials, Godot will not overwrite this material anymore. Even if you change the material in the blend file, that material stays the way that we have now configured it. It will only recreate that material if you delete the material file, and then it will recreate it from the blend file. So that is a way that you can make sure that you can do a whole bunch of improvements, fixes, tweaks, whatever, to materials for an asset. And solve it that way. Now, interesting enough, for the GLB, it is automatically extracted. I might have set that as a preference. I'm not sure, or maybe that's because, yeah, that's probably because I did that in the other project, and in the other project I was using the GLB file. So that makes perfect sense. This time I'm using the blend file because nowadays we can use the blend file directly, which is actually really cool. You do have to have Blender installed if you want to use that feature, but it is a really cool feature. Okay, so here's our gun. We should now be able to pick up this gun. We just need to add some grab points for that. So we're going to start with our grab point left. And if we show that, there's our grab point left. So the nice thing about this is that it's always the wrong way around. So let's go move it like that. And let's move it into place. Now, normally what I would also do is pose this hand, but for now, for today, I am just going to take the shortest route to getting this working. And we're going to do the same thing for our right hand. This is just basically to configure, if we pick the gun up, is where the gun is going to be. Because the gun will snap into our hand. There we go. Cool. Let's go and have a look if that works. Hopefully that will. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. Oh, I haven't put my gun in the scene. That's not going to work, of course. All right, let's go and put our gun in the scene. So before we can do that, we need a table. And for a table, we're going to create another static body. And we're just going to add a collision shape to that. And we're going to add a mesh to that. And our mesh is just going to be a box. think what is a nice way to do that. Let's make it a bit smaller. I'm not gonna make it a proper table with legs and stuff like that. It just needs to be something that stands in as our table. I'm going to do our shader material, and we're going to load the same shader again. And we're going to give that our, our pattern again. And in this case, let's give it a nice little color. And we're going to get to the scale 3:2. Oh yeah, because we squashed it. So there's nothing we can do about that. Good enough. Okay, so that looks weird. It's 1 meter high. It looks like it's 2 meters high. Is that just me? It's probably just me. Because yeah, if I do that, it is. Oh yeah, because my head is here. Yeah, that's all right. It just has to be something that sounds up. Oh, and of course I always do that wrong. I need to obviously move. I need to move the static body so that the shape also moves. There we go. And we're going to create the same shape. And again, the same thing here. Half that so that our collision shape fits properly. That'll do as our table. I know it's not a table, it's just a squashed box, but for what we're doing today, that is enough. And now we can bring our gun into our scene. And let's go move our gun here. Boom, 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 boom. Oop, 90. Okay. There we go. And actually, let's put that way around. So now I should be able to pick it up. So let's see if this time it does work properly. Oh. My keyboard is in the way. Okay, I'm missing something. I forgot to do something. Let's see what we forgot. It's been a while since I've done this. Okay, let's see. We have a pickable object. That doesn't all matter. That doesn't matter. Actually go back in here. Oh, of course. Haha. I need to put our pickup functions on our hands. So our left hand, and again, we're doing it on our collision hands. We need to put up pickup functions because that is the logic that will enable us to pick things up. Without that, no picking up of objects. All right. Let's see if we have more luck this time. Oh, first of all, as you can see, I'm putting, well, you guys can't see it because my camera doesn't go that low, but I'm actually pushing through the table right now, and you can see that the hand stops on the table. And I now have my gun. Well, the finger isn't properly positioned, but for today, that is good enough. So I now can press my trigger. Nothing happens. We need to start shooting things. For that, we first need to have something to shoot at. So okay, let's actually save our table into a separate scene. I call that table 01. Let's put another table in our scene and move that a bit further away. Let's put something on there that we can shoot. Alrighty. Let's create a new scene for that. New scene. I want to do a rigid body 3D. Let's go and shoot some bullets. Okay. Let's save that so that we already have it saved. There we go. And our bottle needs a shape. So let's just do a CSG polygon shape for this. There we go. I haven't done this one for a while. We're going to do a spin. There we go. We now need to make that a nicer shape. Can I actually? I have no idea. After you. There we go. All right, look at that. Can I move these things? I can. How funky is that? I probably want to have more control over that, but because this is obviously going to be way too big. Okay, how many points would we need for this? That's a good question. And obviously we need to make this all much smaller. How big is a bottle? It's a good question. I don't know, 20 centimeters or something? Let's see. So it's going from 0 to 0, and that's something we definitely don't want. So let's go and put this guy. Oops, that's not what I had in mind. Let's go and put this guy up to there. And then this guy to there. Then let's say that one stays the same, but this one can now go to there. And we definitely need many more points. I'm just placing things a little bit. So that should be that. Just to have things in a place at the moment, so that actually needs to be like that. And this is going to be 0, 0, 5, 0. Okay, that looks very ugly. I've messed something up. 0, 0. Oh, look at that. I don't think it's. If I change these things, it's not actually moving that around. That's interesting. Well, that's a bloody ugly bottle. Let's see. Now, I don't know if this is big enough, but okay, the other thing that I want to do is I actually want to go and move this 1, 1, 0, 0, -1, -1, so that it is nicely centered. That is, it's an ugly bottle because I don't have a bottle handy to figure out what that shape should really be. Cheese, thanks for joining. Hope you have a good night. But yeah, I need a bottle. That'll do. Okie doke. So let's actually bring that into our scene first. That's a shame. We should have already renamed that. I hate it when things don't get nice names. Bottle. Okay. That's a good enough size, is it? I think so. Yeah, that'll do. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, we have one bottle that we can shoot at. Okie doke. This thing needs a collision shape. And for this collision shape, I am just going to be using a cylinder shape. And then obviously the height needs to be 0.2, I think. That was, yep. And then our radius should be, I think it was, no, 0.5. There we go. And again, we got our bloody stupid margin. That is totally inadequate for what we're doing. Let's see if that's even going to work, because it's always fun with these small things. All right, let's go and have a look. All right. Oh, I can't move through that, so let's just move around. I just wanted to see if my bottle. Yeah, that's right. Can I? Yeah, can even push it. Yeah, bye bottle. That's the fun thing of having those collision hands. Oop. Hey, Lagos Dunat. How are you going tonight? Today. Okay. So we have a bottle that we can shoot at. So let's go and see if we can make our gun work. Now, the thing that we're going to do in this case, in a lot of my tutorials, I have completely dressed up the gun. There's this tutorial for Godot 3 where I show how you can do a reload of your magazine and then sliding back the slide to load and getting a bullet in there and then shooting the bullet, and it's actually a projectile, da-di-da-di-da, all that cool stuff. We are not going to do that today. Today, we are going to do a very simple raycast from the tip of our gun. We'll adjust that in a minute. And we're gonna just extend that raycast out 20 meters. So our raycast will hit whatever, there we go, whatever object is in our path. Physics, let's go. And we can detect if we're hitting something. All right, so the second thing that we're going to do is we're going to build on this a little bit more later, but for now we're going to keep it nice and simple. Is we're going to go and get a mesh instance, and we're going to go that target, and we're going to make that a sphere mesh. There we go. Which of course is a really big sphere. That's not what we want. We want something nice and small. That is still way too big. That was probably good enough. Okay. And again, just like with the other thing, we're going to say this is going to be a shader material. And we're going to make a new shader for this. And that's not going to be called a gun shader. That is going to be called a target shader. There we go. And all that we're going to do here is set our emission. Let's make that an input. Uniform effect for color. Source color is red. And actually this one we're going to use that in there. Okay, what are we missing? We're still missing that. We are still missing that. There we go. Okay. Oh, oops. There we go. So now we have a nice red dot. Actually, I want albedo to also be this color. Okay. That'll be good enough. I think I might make this a bit brighter. Okay. So now we're going to create a script for a gun, but we already have a script here, so we're going to go and extend our script. That can be gun script. So again, I'm still placing everything in the root node. Normally I don't do that, but for what we're doing here, that is good. Before I write my script, what I also want to do is Is that on my transform? Yes, it is. So on the transform of our target, I'm going to put top level on true, and I'm going to hide my target for now. Yeah, I think for our intents and purpose here, that's good enough. So what we're going to do here is if raycast 3D is colliding, so we're colliding with something, we are going to say our target dot global position is raycast dot gets collision point. There we go. So we're going to position, and I don't need that. It's just easier. We're going to position our target where we're aiming, and we're going to make our target visible. And if we're not colliding, we're going to make our target invisible because we don't want it to just float around. All right, let's see if that works. All right. No, that is not working. Okay. Oh, it is. I just need to make a better reticle because it's too hard to see. I can see it, but I can't see it when it goes too far. Okay, cool. Don't know if you guys could see that because that was very faint, but we're gonna make our target a bit bigger and a little bit brighter. So start making it a bit bigger. Let's make it oops, make it twice as big. And yeah, let's do it like this. Cool. Oogie. Actually, I'll just do that. Oh, that's not showing at all right now. That's interesting. Oh, because I hit it. So yeah, hopefully that is a little bit more visible. We'll see. All right. Now, the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to make it do something when we shoot. Now, I haven't got any sound clips ready or anything like that. So we're just going to go and add in, and for this, I actually need to go to my pickable script. Is that this one? Yeah. If I remember correctly, we have a method that we can override. Action, yeah. Okay, so, but this is, oh, it doesn't emit action. All right, that's changed, but I'm happy with that. So we can just go here, and we can just do here on itself. We can put our, so action pressed is automatically triggered when we pull our trigger, which is kind of nice. So what we can do here is if raycast 3D is colliding, so we're aiming at something, then we can see what are we colliding with. Get collider. So that is going to give us a collider that we're colliding with, which don't give me anything. We're going to specifically see if this is a rigid body, because then we know that we're aiming at something that yeah, that we can shoot at or that we can do something with. Actually, we might do so that we do a little particle when we hit something. Yeah, we can do that. That's another one that's interesting to do. All right, we'll do two things here. First is we're hitting a rigid body. So if we go to rigid body, we have a add force. There we go. Apply force. There we go. So here we need to do an apply force. We have a direction in which we apply the force, which also gives us strength, and a position where we apply the force. All right. So what we obviously need first is where. Get points. So we're gonna see where did we hit our object. And actually, I'm gonna go and put that in here because we probably want to use that more than once. So here we can do apply impulse. So for our impulse, and actually I'm going to just say impulse and position. So I'm going to calculate my impulse as where, take away, our raycast global position. So that gives us a vector from our the muzzle of our gun to the object that we're hitting. So that gives us the direction in which we want to do the force. We want to normalize that. Why does that not do it? Probably because it doesn't realize that that is a vector 3. And that is going to be any kind of node, 3D. There we go, normal. Why does it not want to do that? Okay, let's go and do this at least so that it's happy that everything is there. We need to adjust that in a minute. Okay, so that is length. No, normalize. Why is it not auto-completing my vectors? That's stupid. Sometimes the auto-completion is a bit whack. There we go. I'm just going to copy that from here then. There we go, normalized. Actually, let's make that a export variable. And for now, I'm just going to put it to 1. I have no idea if that is going to be a lot or a little. So now our position, now when we look at apply impulse, we see that our position is an offset from the body origin in global parameters. So here's our global position where we hit. And here we need to go and subtract the global position of our of the thing that we are hitting. All right. So that should now mean that if we correctly aim at our bottle will fly off. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. We'll see if that actually works. Now, the other thing that I want to do here, regardless of what we hit, is we want to show that we're hitting something. So let's do a little particle effect there. So normally I would spawn in a particle effect so that if I rapidly fire at things, and we haven't even put a cooldown in here, but if we rapidly fire, we could have multiple instances of the particle effect. But in this case, we're going to put our particle effect in our gun scene. We're going to place it, let it play, and if we hit something else, remove it to that new location, let it play, etc., etc. Excuse me. So we're going to keep that really simple. All right. We don't actually really care where it is at the beginning. We just need to have a particle effect here. So what we need is a particle material. What we need is something to draw, which, as far as I'm concerned, can just be a quad. We are going to make that a tiny little quad because now we've got lots of quads dropping out. Let's actually start with doing that. 0.01, 0.01. Now we have lots of little quads floating out. We're also going to give this a material. Here I am going to use a standard material for now because I just want, oh, not a shader material, I said standard material. Because I want to see what it is that we need to do here. We should make that a particle billboard so that it's always facing us. Don't make noise. I think for now that is more than good enough for what we're going to be doing. Okay. So, particle. We're gonna do emitting. We're gonna do. Oh, this is all. I need to do that over here, don't I? Yeah, there we go. So I want to make that exposed. Boom. That makes sure that all our particles are emitted all at the same time. We're eventually going to turn one shot on, but I'm going to leave that off for now, just so that we can see what happens. That's all good. Okay, that probably needs to be. Okay, that is way too high, guys. Okay, that's starting to look better. Okay. Now, we want that spread out everywhere. Hold on, I'm going to go this so that we can really see what's happening. And I'm going to actually go and take my explosiveness back to 0 just so that we can see what's happening. Actually, let's see what happens if I do turn the gravity off for a minute. Okay, so we're actually emitting in all directions. That's really interesting. But that's perfect for what I want. I just want to probably... No, I actually like that better. And that was... Okay. Let's actually just bring our gravity down, because that actually doesn't really matter for what it is that we're doing. That is way, way, way too overpowered. Okay, let's see if we put our explosiveness back up. Boom. Nah, we need that to be much more. Well, it's way overdone. But it's very clear where we hit something. Probably we should do that with less particles then. Yeah, good. Okay. I actually want to do a scale curve. That's fine. What is that? You know what? Yep. That's actually perfect. It doesn't seem to be applying it though. Because what this should do is make sure that our particles... Oh, that's right. I need to take a tick box for that. Where are we? Which tick box is that again? No. God, where's that hiding? Oh, keep scale. It's right there. Boom. There we go. So now we can see that our particles slowly disappear. So maybe it's still too overdone. What if I just don't? No, I do like that it does a little bit. Yeah, for what we want to do, that's good enough. So, one shot, not emitting, perfect. Okay. The last thing that I really want to do here, I need to do that over here as well. Say transform. This is also going to be top level. And what was the last thing that I wanted to do? There was something in here, I think. Mini, one shot. No, I want that. And okay, that's good enough. All right. So that means that here, this is we're gonna make way easier. We're just gonna say GPU particles dot global position becomes our where, and our GPU particles dot nope. Okay, what is the variable for that? Oh, there's no isn't, it's just emitting. There we go. Sure. All right, let's see what that does. That's going to be fun. Actually, load it up a bit so you guys can see a bit better what I'm doing. All right. I need to move back again a little bit. And then we can move like that. And now I can do that. So now. Okay, it worked the first time, and then not anymore. Now I can't. Okay, oh, look at that. Okay, so we're definitely hitting. Okay, but why is it only working sometimes? Okay, maybe that has to do with my cooldown thing. I'm not sure. Okay. Let's actually add a cooldown timer in here. All right, so that's going to be a one shot. There we go. That's going to have a timeout function. There we go. And now we do it. Let's make a drink. Excuse me, my throat suddenly decided to go. Like I said at the beginning of my stream, my throat's been acting up lately. Oh, that's better. Okay. Can shoot. Alrighty, cool. And in our timeout, we can shoot again. And here we're going to say, if not can shoot, return. All right. In this case, we're going to shoot whether we're colliding or not. So shoot is false. And cooldown. Sorry. Cooldown. To play sound. To do muzzle flash, etc., etc. There's a bunch of things that we can improve there and work on eventually. But for now, we have our GPU particles. Okay, so one thing that I'm wondering about is if I need to toggle that quickly to false and back to true to reset our particle emitter. Don't know if that works, but we'll see. That might be the difference. We should make sure that always starts full screen. All right. No, we still have. It's really weird how sometimes we know that our position is correct, else we wouldn't be seeing our yeah, no, did you see my hand floating there because my auto controller isn't on, by the way? But yeah, we don't really have our... Okay. So, I think we need to... This, by the way, is probably... Yeah, it's whenever my headset is off, it gives this... when I'm not having my headset on my head, I'm getting these wonderful little errors. That's something that I've fixed in 4.2, but it's still there in 4.1. Can't do any harm, by the way. Doesn't do any problem. Okay, so all right. Let's first, just as a helper, sphere. Why can't I see the sphere? There we go. So I'm gonna make that. There. Gonna make a nice little bowl there. I just want to see if it actually repositions it, and if it's therefore the playing of the particles that just isn't working properly. Okay, maybe I should also just make the lifetime. Yeah, kind of like that. Maybe a little bit more. And I'm wondering if that's a problem. If we put that through too quickly, does it need a reset maybe? Let's have a look at that. Scripts, particles. Okay. Oops. I wonder if restart will actually set a minimum true. Would be nice if the documentation would say that. Or if it just clears it, in which case I'm going to do that. Okay. Let's see if this does finally do what I wanted to do. Well, we're probably not going to see it because we've got that bloody big bowl in place now, but that will at least show us that some of the logic works. Boom, 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 again, boom. Oh, okay. So the restart was the problem, but I hit my my helper thingy. Okay, so next thing that we need to do is we need to up the strength with which we hit our bottle. So let's go and up our strength. Let's say that 5. That should really make it fly. That means that that was a dud anyway, so let's get rid of that. Yeah, it's updated that. Okay, time. Yeah, we got plenty of time. All right, so. All right. Cool. I can't aim for the life of me. There we go. This time I hit it properly. All right, so our little doohickey does stay too small. It's hard to see, but at least we hit our bottle. Now I'm wondering if I should make the bottle a bit bigger. I think I will. I'm gonna make everything double up. I think my bottle is way too small. 2, 6, 1, 1, 2, 2. Okay, now we have a bit of a bigger bottle. That means that this also needs to double in size. There we go. Perfect. Okay, cool. Means that we can move this up a bit. Let's put a couple of bottles on here so that we actually have something to shoot at. Boom. Boom. Okay. All right, so now it should be a lot easier to hit these things. Boom. Boom. Can I still shoot you? No. I'm not that good at aim. Okay. But I can shoot my bottles off the thing. Cool. So, now for the last thing that I wanted to do. It is really fun to have our little target particle. And again, you know, this is probably just too small, which is why I can't really aim with it. And maybe I should make it larger the further that it goes. However, it also makes aiming too easy if we do that, because it'll nicely be on top of our object. So we're going to do something else. We're going to put something else in here. And for that, we're going to have to we're going to have to do some trickery. And the question at this point in time is, am I just going to do it on the display, or am I going to That's a good one. Am I gonna want to do this with the shader? Because there's two options that I have. One is that just like this little ball, if I place that nicely, if I place that nicely on my raycast, I can move that a fixed amount of space forward, let's say that far. And then as long as that is inside of a certain space, I could put it on a holo. That's one way of doing it. The other thing that we could do, and that basically means that I'm drawing this at the depth that it is, but I'm clipping it based on, hey Nub, how you going? I am doing a much simpler version of guns than you are doing at the moment. I'm just playing around with some effects around this. So anyway, as I was saying, the one thing that I can do is that I can draw this, but I would then draw, let's say, a rectangle or a reticle, and I would draw it here, but I would then check it against the screen coordinates of a holo area here, and then just discard any point that is outside of that reticle. The other option that we have is that we can use parallax. And I am starting to think that I want to use parallax for this. And that'll be a little bit more of a tricky thing to draw. But I do think it would be nicer to do. So yeah, let's just do it that way. Okay. Because that way, excuse me, that way it also won't be affected by our depth buffer, which is kind of cool. All right. And it will always be the same size, which is kind of cool. Okay. Excuse me. So, this is going to be a little bit more work than I thought, I think, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to create a new mesh instance. Very good. We are going to add a quad mesh on there. That is way too big a quad mesh. We're also going to rotate that 180 degrees. Oh, how long or how big a thing do we want? That is way too big. Okay. Yeah. Starting to get there. I think I want it slightly smaller still. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll do. So obviously, normally we would put a nice thing around this to make it a proper hollow, but for now it's just going to be a square on which we're going to put a shader. I actually want this to be a little bit more closer. There we go. All right, so I need a reticle image. Reticle images. I want something simpler. How do I make sure that I don't get something that... Oh, we'll see. Oh, some nice Adobe stock license. Now, how do I search on things that... Oh, tools. Here we go. Users' rights. Creative Commons. There we go. That's what we want. The thing is, this is a bit overdone for what I want. This would be nice to have in other places. So that's basically what we're doing, right? Is create a holo. Sure. Red. Ah, look at that. That's what we want. Oh, these are a whole bunch of different ones. That's pretty cool. Are they really Creative Commons? Anyway, this is Wikipedia. Trying to learn more. Oh. Visit. Yeah, that's good enough. Wikipedia Commons. Can I use a Wikipedia Commons thing? Okay. I don't know. Someone tell me if it's safe to use a Wikipedia Commons. Well, you know, oh here, Creative Commons CC10 public domain. Oh yeah, that's I think it's relatively safe to use this. So, save image as. There we go. I don't want that. Why do you always go to places where I don't want you to go? Sorry, I need to think where I save my things. Stream 51. There we go. Assets. So this is going to be Wikipedia. All right. I actually wouldn't mind having the original SVG. Oh, I could actually save the original SVG as well. In this case, I am going to use the PNG because I don't want to dig around with SVG. But SVG would have been nicer to use. Okay, so let's create our shader. New shader material. Yay. New shader. This is going to become our holo shader. Cool. All right. So, uniform. Enter 2D. Vertical. Okay. And for now, just to test, color. UV. Albedo. Color RGB. Alpha is color A. And of course, I forgot that. I always forget that because I switch between GLSL and GDScript all the time. And let's go and load our, whoops, our reticle in there. Boom. We have a really big reticle that we're showing. Yay. But that obviously isn't where we want it to show. We want it to show, you know, in relation to this. All right. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be casting a ray from the pixel that we are rendering out, and we're going to see if we're going to cross our if we're going to cross our raycast at a certain depth. So we need to have a raycast offset. We're actually going to, you know, normally that would just be forward, but we actually want to offset it down a bit. So for that, we need to know the difference in height between here and there. Now, one option that we have is that we can actually do that in code. Probably want to do that in code. Yeah, it's probably a good idea to do that in code. Let's just see where we'll end up with that. Okay. Let me think. We're going to need to know where that is. I'm trying to think through where we are because we're going to be handling things in view space. Okay, let's just start there. Let me think. View space. But offset. Okay. Void. Okay. Varying vertex view. Okay. So that I'm gonna do here is model view matrix times vec4 vertex 1. Don't select those out. Okay. So with that, we know where we are in view space in 3D. Okay, so now we need a direction that we're looking at. And the thing is, okay, so that's something that we can do here. Is vec3 ray dir is going to be vertex view space. I think we need to add our eye offset to this, but it might be subtract eye offset. That's always what I forget. And we want to normalize that. Okay, so that gives us our forward direction. Okay, cool. All right. So now we want to project that view. Now, we also want to make sure that we're not looking to the back of this. Oh, that's not a problem because we have back facing off. So that we don't even have to worry about it. We're only going to be running our vertex shader if we are looking at this in the right direction. Cool. Sweet. Okay. So we want to go, we now know the position of our vertex in view space. We know what direction we are looking at. Problem is we need to have our how do we do that? Thing that I'm thinking about is I really want this in the local space of the object. But I don't want an expensive matrix calculation in my fragment shader. So, how to do this? How do we do this? Well, I know how to do it if I put that back into models or into world space. Is it world space? No, I need to have it in the local model space. And the funny thing is, we actually don't have an inverse model view matrix here in our fragment shader, which is very interesting. At least I don't think I have. We got a model matrix and we got our view. Do I have a view matrix? We do. What are all the inverse ones that we have? Inverse matrix image, inverse view matrix. Let's actually do that first. So I'm gonna try and do it in model space first. And then later on I need to think about a better way to do that. Do we have actually vertex as an input here? I don't think so. No, we need to thing needs to have a name. Oh, and that's why I still need I do need this. Oh, hold on. That's annoying. Okay. So I need it in both. Okay, varying length 3 vertex. Let's actually call it vertex local. Probably a better name. Let's go do that here. That's going to be vertex. There we go. Okay, cool. Now we're going to change raydir into a local space raydir. So that's going to be raydir is inverse view. I always forget which way around these need to be. We don't have. Seriously. Okay, this sucks. So I'm going to have to do it in view space. And the problem that I have is I need to extend our raycast to a certain depth along the axis of our site, which is actually the normal of our site. So we actually have that because our normal will be, so we should have access to normal here. Yeah, normal. So we really need to extend our raydir along normal distance, but I always forget what the calculations for that are. So let's see if we can harvest that, because it's a variation of our what you call it? It's a variation of our parallax depth that we're doing. So let's just go and create a standard material. And we're going to go and do a, where are you? Depth. Why can't I see it? I'm blind. I am blind at height. Oh, they call it height now. Okay, that's interesting. All right, convert. Did I forget something? I must have forgotten something. I turned height on. There we go. That's fine. Scale. Okay, do I need to do... Oh, I need to get a hide texture in here. I really don't care what the texture is. So let's just go and put a texture in there just so that it creates what it is that we want to create. Okay. Did it put in there now? Was I just that blind? Okay, it's not converting in my height map stuff. You're gonna tell me that we just found a bug in this code, do we? Okay, never mind then. Well, if we can't find it, let's go and help with Google. Send a vector on another vector. No. Is this what I'm after? I think so. Yes. All right. Vector projections for projection one vector into the next person. Is that just going to be vector? A dot product of the vector divided by the length. Vector. And then U is that. Okay, so we normalize that one. Well, let's see if I have that correct. But if I see it correctly, the length of the vector projection and the direction you want to go. What am I missing? I'm too tired, guys. I'm very sorry. I'm kind of missing. So is it just dot product divided by length? see. Can we make a small test of this? See if we can make it work. Actually, no, I want that in there. 3D scene. Okay, so I don't know. Come on, math, learn to type. There we go. ABC. Oh, of course, it's not gonna keep showing these things. Okay. I need to have something to show. That's fine. For this example, I'm happy about that. Okay, duplicate. That's going to be B. Okay, so I'm going to put there. And now we're going to have a C. So that's the one that we're going to be positioning. Okay. Of course, make a test. Okay. So we got our so we're doing everything from the origin point in this case. So it's just going to be a dot global position. All right, so do I understand correctly that it's going to be position is vec a dot vec b divided by, actually that means that I want to project over A, so that's going to be my A. That's going to be my B. So I actually need to normalize this one. That makes that easier. Because that means that my that is always 1. That will always be 1. So is this then just as simple as back times? Is it just that simple? Just calculating with the dot product? I don't know. I don't get this. Let's see if it does it. I'd be very surprised if it does that. No, it's not positioning C. Okay, because I haven't normalized that. Do I need to normalize that one as well for this to work? Because that's the thing that I don't get. Hey, XP. Yeah, no, I need to learn C#. I'm never going to be a real developer if I don't learn C#. Oh, hang on. This is norm. Oh no, it's normalized. It should still. It should just move that one somewhere. Actually, I think that's probably because I probably need to reopen this thing. Okay. All right. So Okay. We actually got, I actually wanted to go on the other one. Okay. So, A, B. So in this case, it's going to be fact B. All right. So this one doesn't matter because that's just the direction. It now goes for wherever I point this one. Perfect. Okay. That's what I want. Is it? Is that what I wanted? No, because now I am. Yeah, because now I can calculate. How much? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay. Because now what I want to do is make that. Okay. So we have a reindeer. That's that one going there. So in this case, our normal is. So, okay, factory projected is going to become my normal times dot normal reindeer. Okay. Excuse me. Oh, haha. Sorry. There we go. So we're going to predict. So that is now that. Okay. And then what I want to do is reindeer is a deer times let's make this because that's actually something that I want to set. Oh, that's going to be a uniform. Float forward offset is. I said let's do that. 1 meter is probably good. Let's make it 2 meters just for now. So we can see that it works. So we're going to do that divided by length projection because I just want the length of that. Which in this case is actually my dot. Okay. I should have known that. It's been a while. It's late. I'm tired. I don't care about that. I just care about that. There we go. Oh, redefinition of radar. Yeah, of course. Boom, radar. Thank you. Which actually means that I can probably just plunk that into here. No, I guess I need to calculate it first. Okay. All right. So that's going to give me where my ray is 2 meters forward of where we are. All right. So I'm first going to assume that the ray is actually forward from this. So we're purely going to offset it from where that is. So let's start with that. Okay. So that's our ray going forward. I think. Because we also need to know our center point. Yeah, GGScript does get handy in this. Yeah, no, we're trying to make a holo with a little gun sight, and I'm trying to project it 2 meters in front of the gun on our holo sight. So the problem is that I'm doing everything in view space, and I'm trying to sort of remember where. Well, actually, that means that we can now do a varying like 3. Or do we already have the ability to go from here? Hold on. Well, the holo needs to be restricted because basically what we end up doing is showing the reticle at a certain distance, but only if the reticle is still visible within the square. So I'm basically trying to do a parallax adjustment of the reticle. But it is late and I'm tired and I can't think straight because I've written these things so many times. It's not funny. But I'm having a hell of a time remembering how to calculate the amount by which we offset our UV, depending on how far we're going. Because the other option was indeed that I was thinking of was to actually just have the reticle appear at a certain point, but then discard it if it isn't within the space of the holo. So it reminds me that I want to do this. Okay, so this way we can actually see where our holo is. Because the alpha of our image is a bit weird, but okay, so because the thing now is okay, could indeed help if I do a varying vec3 center. Okay, so that is going to become center is model view matrix times vec4. Again, does that also need to be offset by the I? I think so. So 0 to 0, 0 to 0. Is that negative? So this is going to be forward. Offset 0. X, Y, Z. Oops. There we go. Okay, so we can probably save ourselves a little bit of trouble by doing this. Plus plus. Okay. Actually, no, we don't care about that because that's the nice thing about having the ray here. Okay. Now we can say I'm running out of names to use. We're just going to call that V for now. So here we're going to say vertex view plus. Well, that's actually no longer a ray. Oh yeah, you know what? Forward offset. Just to keep it readable, we're going to actually do that. So that's going to be an adjusted radio now. That's going to be that minus center. Okay. Hey, something up. Okay. All right. And then we're going to base our UV on that. But so that's going to be, I always forget tangent and bitangent. I'm probably doing this way too complex, so I'm just too tired to think about the right way to do this. So what we're doing here is oh, because that's just an adjustment of that. Okay. So here we're going to have dots by normal, comma V. Hold on. Look. This is again where we did our test. Yeah, so we know that our binormal that we're doing this with is length 1 because that's a normalized vector. So we're going to do that. Actually gives us something that we can use. Let's just actually see what craziness this does. I could be completely doing this wrong. Tangent, and I'm probably mixing tangent and binormal up, but we shall see. I have no idea if this is even remotely working. Oh, it's repeating. That's not something I want. Repeating. Just clamp it. Just as easily. Well, that. Oh, wow. Well, I definitely screwed that up, didn't I? Okay, I'm going to take this clamp out for now. In theory, that's kind of what it needs to do. Obviously, we might have this this thing now upside down, which is kind of interesting. But the idea works, which is kind of cool. So we're actually not using the UVs here. Okay, so one of the things that we can obviously do is make our radical non-repeating. Where are you? Oh, that wasn't that. That was hints nowadays, wasn't that? Radical hints. Is it hint? No. Repeat. Disabled. Is that it? Okay, so okay. That's interesting. Plus. Oops. Ah, okay. That's right. Now I don't like that it's doing that. So obviously, if uv.x1 dot or uv.x bigger than that, start, or uv dot y smaller than that, or uv dot y bigger than that. Okay, that's better. Okay, now I want to do a scale. Now it could still be that we've got tangent and bitangent the other way around. That's all right, HB. Okay, I want to go and do a scale here. Okay, that went the wrong way around. Okay, divided by scale. Okay, there we go. Okay, now, oh, that's why that is actually wrong. Okay. That's a good question. What is the background color of this? Okay. I actually don't want to discard it. I want to change the way that looks. Okay, so what I actually want to do here is if color dot a smaller is than, let's just make the cutoff 0, 1. Albedo is alpha is and then this can just be A. Oh, I do need this one first. There we go. All right, so now we always have the whole thing, and our reticle is now shown all the way over there. I actually want that to be even smaller. There we go. Now, the other thing is it's slightly above our... And the other question is, did I get it right to have it run properly stereoscopic, which might be that I need to do that minus, but we'll see that quick enough. Oh, I can see that once I start testing it. You guys can't. Actually, this offset should become a vec4 or a vec3. I'm actually going to do that like this. No, I do actually want to do that then. Forward offset dot x, forward offset dot y, and then minus forward offset dot z because of the direction that we're looking in. Actually, is that correct? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so this is going to become a vec3. Just make sure that it still works first. And actually, that's no longer called forward offset. That's just called offset. Offset X, offset Y, offset Z, offset Z. Okay, cool. And now we actually need to know the height difference here. So our what's this thing called? I'm really tired, guys. I'm going to go to bed after I finish this. Let's see. This is called a holo. Thank you. The holo is on. Its height is here on 0.085. Okay. I'm going to cheat a little bit here. That's going to become minus 0.5. I'm feeling that's wrong. That's really interesting. Doesn't mean that I got my binomial and tag it the right way around. Seeing my offset is Z. Okay, so raycast 0.6. Why does it not like that? Well, there we go. 5. Yeah, I think that's right, because now it's nicely on the raycast. Cool. All right, I'm going to see how this looks inside of VR and see if that actually is going to be correct or not. And again, you guys will not see it as well as I do, but there we go. Here we go. Okay. All right, so that is definitely not working the way that it should. It's interesting. Okay, it's definitely not working the way that it should. Oh, I wonder why that flew away like that. All right, so either our stereo logic isn't good, I'm messing it up, or oh, okay. I think we definitely have it wrong in the sense of depth. Okay, so why are you not working? I think we've messed up with our. Is it because we do need to do it like this? Make sure that that's consistent. That could be. Yeah, that might actually be it. Yeah, I think that might have been the problem. Hold on, I just need that. My thumb border thing keeps going up. No, it's still doing the wrong size. If I go closer, I don't know what that's about. Kind of looks nice, but position is definitely completely wrong. But why? Okay, I have no idea why it also applies. Oh, that's no, that I do know, by the way. That's a problem that we still need to solve. When I let go of the gun, it collides with my hand collider, and it causes the thing to just fly off. Okay, so we definitely have something the wrong way around in our code. The big question is what? Because it nicely works here, which is cool. Now I could just for fun see what happens if I don't put the eye offset in here. See if that improves the positioning. That will remove the depth sense of this, which is a shame, but it might actually allow me to see if I can figure out what it's doing. Now, what I notice is as I move it closer to my eye, it gets smaller, and as I move it further away, it gets bigger. So we're definitely doing our raycast wrong. And I can see that it's moving exactly the opposite way. It doesn't help by putting it on a different angle. This is so weird. Why would it be the reverse of what I expect? Okay, there's one thing that I want to try just to rule it out. No, we're gonna go. Oh yeah, let's just do it here. Oh, well, let's run it on the mobile renderer, just to rule out whether this is a problem with OpenGL having things flipped, which does tend to happen. Okay, let's see if that makes a difference. No, it hasn't helped. So why is it? Okay, doesn't make any sense. There is definitely a difference in the viewer. I don't think it has anything to do with the mobile renderer, but might as well leave it there. All right, we're doing. All right, so let's go and add the eye offset back in. Now, it could be that I need to subtract that. That's always the thing that I miss. Oh, hold on. Yeah, no, this should actually be like this. Because in view space, that's I already see it. No. Well, that's actually correct because we need to do this one in the right direction. But my normal points this way. I want my normal pointing into the screen. So that will give us the right version there, but it also means that in this case, we want the absolute value of z, or we just do the minus z. Minus z is great. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's still behaving here as I expect, and now actually this is doing more of what I thought it would be doing. Is it? Oh, there we go. Yeah. There we go. And that also, yeah, perfect. Excuse me. All right, let's see if that made a difference. Let's see if that made a difference. Okay, it's completely offset. Okay, that's weird. Okay, so on my left eye, it's too far to the right, and on my right eye, it's too far to the left. Now that would suggest that I need to subtract my eye offset instead of add it in. So I am going to guess that that is my problem now. So let's go and do this. And let's see if that makes a difference. Okay. Yep, that is working. It's okay. The problem that I have right now, and that kind of makes sense, is that the radical is way too big. And that's basically because we're working in meters. So our radical is actually 25 by 25 centimeters projected. So let's project it as much smaller. And here, you know, because we're, yeah, in VR, we're really zooming in on this quite close. Here it looks very small, but in VR it all looks way bigger, because we actually get a sense of scale. So let's see if that works. I definitely have the depth correct now, so I could see the depth. And again, that's something that unfortunately you guys can't really see, but I can. So yeah, cool. I think it can even be smaller now. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay. Biggest problem is I really need to sit this. Oh fuck, my my cable is not long enough. Yeah, I think it needs to be half as small, or I probably need to put it a bit further back. But other than that, it is doing what it's doing. Pretty cool. Pretty damn cool. Oh yeah, and that shut off again. All right, so why is that going wrong? Oh yeah, that's nicely shaking when that happens. All right. Yeah, this works pretty well. I'm going to make it even smaller. And I'm going to move it slightly further away. Okay, one more test run. Actually, we're going to go back to compatibility because I want to see if it runs properly in compatibility mode, or if there is indeed a difference there. All right, let's see if it works. Okay, this is actually works properly, but it's so easy to have only one eye see the reticle, and that's very disconcerting. Is that because it's too close? Should I put the holo at the front? I'm not sure. The depth perception is definitely correct. So that's cool. But yeah, it's now very easy to have the reticle only appear in one eye. Oh, that is really weird. Okay, that's something that you guys can't see, but the depth perception of the reticle is correct. But this view tends to only be in visible from one eye, or the reticle is only in the thing on one eye. So I'm gonna move this forward. Although the other question then is, could it be because no, I think it was doing it right. So I'm going to have to try it one more time in mobile and see. Because I remember that the problem with mobile and actually the problem with OpenGL is that we've got a yeah, I think that is a problem. Yep, the Y is reversed. Okay, hold on. Is it? No, I'm wrong. It is working correctly. Okay, I need to go back to Vulkan. Okay. See, this is what I meant at the beginning with. This is a very uncomfortable headset to keep taking off and on. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Okay, my red dot's still in here, and that is making it a bit harder. Yeah, I'm just. Yeah, this is interesting. Okay. I am going to increase the size of the holo quite a bit just to see if that. So this is going to be immensely large. Just want to see if the depth perception is correct. Because I think, and again, I'm guessing that, normally you would hold the gun more closely to one eye or something. Okay. Yeah, that's quite perfect. The funny thing is that this noise on the hand is making the reticles really move around, but that's quite to be expected. Yeah, now I can really see the reticle properly. So obviously the little laser pointer should now be gone, but yeah. And I think now actually because I put it on 3 meters, I shouldn't have made it smaller. But yeah, on such a small holo, it is definitely a problem. I want to go back to compatibility and just double check if that is still going correct as well. I'm going to move the holo back to here. Obviously, I will resize it back the way that it was. Let's get this back to 1. Okay. No, I think I want to have it 1 now. I think. Yeah, just putting it a meter further back does make a lot of difference. Actually don't want the target at the moment anymore. That was wrong. Where's target? Oh, that's just process. I'm gonna turn this off for now. I'm probably gonna get a warning that unreachable code. That's fine. I just want to have this off for now. Okay. Compatibility. Double check if that still works. It's a bit bigger, but it's working fine. That's probably too big. that is a little bit on the big side. So let's go and put this one back to 0.1. And I'm going to make this 0.5. Oops. 0.5. There we go. I think for now that will do. Okay, one more try, and then I think it is good enough for tonight. Okey-dokey. Oh, gotta grab the right thing. Okay. So yeah. What are you doing, Bottle? Doink. Oh, particles still work. Yeah, that's cool. All right. That's for the first time that my inside out tracking on the crest is complaining about it being too dark. All right, everybody. That was an adventure getting that right. I'll just put the whole code on screen. I'll see where I can eventually end up putting this, uploading this so that everybody can, play around with it. But yeah, that's how, well, that's one way in which you can create a holo. Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised at how well this works. I'm pretty sure this code can be cleaned up. I'm pretty sure that there's a couple of things that I'm doing way too difficult. Oh, why is there a indent there that shouldn't be there? But yeah, I am pretty happy about the end results here. So I guess I'm going to leave it there. I don't know if anybody's got any questions or any feedback. Yeah, so HP, it's not in screen space for both eyes. That's why the well, it's no, it is in screen space, but it is It is properly stereo correct. That's what I'm after. Which is, you know, where the eye offset comes into play. Because whenever you use your model view matrix, you are projecting something in the combined eye space. And in order to actually do proper parallax logic, we need to keep the eye offset into account so that we get the proper ray deer from the individual eyes. But the problem that you do have is obviously when you hold your gun and you have your holo, if one eye is looking that way and the other eye is looking that way through the holo, maybe only one eye can see where the reticle is. The other eye will not see it. And that is what is feeling a bit weird. However, I think that one of the things that I need to change, because I've seen this effect in other games and done very well in other games, is when you actually have a proper holder for it and therefore proper borders around it, your eyes will figure out like, yeah, I'm looking through this thing, and okay, I can't see something with one eye as a result. But yeah, and in the end, these eyes, they're usually done with one eye shot, in which case you're obviously going to look down the barrel of the gun and that reticle will display in the right place. It's when you're trying to look through it with both eyes and one eye doesn't see the reticle and the other eye does. And that's why I made it so big before, because then that doesn't happen, because the reticle will always be there. And that's when I can see that the reticle is, you know, has the correct depth sense, and therefore it's rendering correctly. Thanks, George. Don't forget the race car 2.0. Yeah, no, I need to get back to the race car. I've been wanting to get back onto that a long time, so we'll see if we get there eventually. This is the bit, by the way, that really surprises me. You know, in this view, our reticle's tiny, and then in VR it is. I guess it's because of the field of view of the camera, which would really be. I just want to see what happens. Yeah, I guess that gives a better idea of what's happening, but yeah, well, let's go back to 70. Oh, I don't know. Alrighty, what time is it? Oh, it's past midnight for me. Okay, everybody, I hope that was enjoyable. I'm gonna leave it there. So I hope everybody learned something, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with the end result. So I guess I see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.